Hey, it's Eric here. I invite you to follow along as I walk through my way of completing the scenes activity. So in this activity, we're going to need to utilize different scenes, so different backdrops, maybe different characters. I already have an idea in mind. So I've seen this project before where a cat is walking down a hallway and it looked really awesome. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and borrow the animation that user has made. So I'll go ahead into Scratch, the website, scratch.mit.edu, and it was called Corridors of Doom, 3D Corridors of Doom. Okay, so this is one version of the project, and I'll show you really quickly. This is actually a remix, so let's go to the original project here. Okay, and we'll see in this project, I'll just briefly show you what this does. You can go ahead and actually walk, and I think this is just an awesome animation. I want to use this part of the animation here. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and jump into the project that this person has made, and I'll go to the costumes for when the cat is walking sideways. So I see here is a sprite of the cat walking sideways, and we see all the different costumes here. So this is a pretty complex animation that someone's put together. So I want to go ahead and borrow this. So what I can do is I can open up my backpack here, so where I store things. I'll just drag and drop this sprite, okay? So now my sprite is in my backpack. So if I exit out of this project, okay, I'll leave this page, and I go back and create a new project, we should see that in my backpack is that sprite from that other project. So all we have to do is drag and drop it in here, okay? And it seems like everything transferred over, including the scripts. But really all I'm interested in is the costumes at the moment. So if we click in here, we can see that, yes, we got all the costumes for our animation. And I just want a really simple animation, which is cycling through costume 1, so we can see the legs are out, and then as he walks, we sort of see the movement. So all I really want is to be switching costumes, so I don't need all the other scripts that came along with it. So let's go ahead and delete those, right? So just take a second to delete those and do something much more simple, which is just switching through the costumes. So just get rid of these, get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this. Okay, and now to make things easier for me, I'll get rid of the other sprite that I don't need anymore. So here we go. We see the sprite that we just imported, and all I want to do is be switching the costumes, right? So from one costume to the next. So when green flag is clicked, let's go ahead and go into looks and say next costume. So we'll go ahead, and if we want to keep cycling through the costumes, right, we're going to have to put this into a loop. So forever be switching costumes. Let's see what that looks like. Pretty awesome. Nice. Okay, so now what do I want to do? Well, I want my sprite to be walking across the screen because I want my sprite to be almost like he's traveling through a scene. So maybe first things first, what we do is go ahead and actually create a backdrop. So I think I'll just keep it pretty simple. I just want him to be walking through the Scratch environment. So we'll go ahead, we can start with maybe a boardwalk. So maybe the cat is just walking across the boardwalk. So we can go ahead and say, you know what, let's have our sprite glide across this backdrop. So that's pretty simple, right? So all we'd have to do is go ahead and go into an event. So we'll say when green flag is clicked, we'll have the cat start here, right? We want the cat to start over here, and then we'll say, so go to this position, and then really simple, all we have to do is say glide across this across this y-axis here, all the way to the other side. So maybe what we do is we just make it easy. We say glide, and I know I don't want the cat going up or down, so I don't have to affect the y, but I can just affect the x. So tell you what, I'll just put a negative 281. So we'll see it goes from 281 on the y, on the x, all the way to negative 281 on the x. So we'll go ahead and try this out to see how it looks. So okay, he's running, which is hilarious. So maybe we slow him down a little bit. Maybe we say 3. So 3 seconds to glide across. See how that looks? Pretty awesome. Maybe a little bit quicker. No, yeah, let's do a little bit quicker. Okay, try it again. Now what? Okay, so now we have a problem where he is, our cat is sort of is stuck, right? He's walking into the wall. So maybe what we do is we just put a loop here. So once he's hit this side, boom, he jumps to these coordinates. So it looks like he's walking into another scene. Okay, so what we'll do is let's just put a repeat here, a repeat 10. So this will run 10 times. And if all goes according to plan, he should go to this position, glide, and then once that script is run, it's going to repeat. So he goes, poof, goes back here and walks across again. So let's see this. Boom. Nice. Very nice. Okay, cool. So how do we go about and switch the backdrop once he's hit this point? And what we do is we'll just say, you know what, go to next backdrop. Okay? So just like we had next costume, we have switch backdrop. Okay? So we can go ahead and say switch to next backdrop. Oh, but oh no, we actually don't have a next backdrop. So we have a switch to next costume, but we don't have a next backdrop block. So we have to get a little creative here. So we'll just do the switch to backdrop boardwalk, okay? And then this is going to be a loop, but it's only going to be repeated once. And what we'll have to do is then create this sequence here to run for different backdrops. And actually, I guess I'll repeat one loop doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So maybe what we do is go ahead, get rid of this, okay? And then we'll get rid of the loop because repeating one loop doesn't make too much sense. So what we do, I guess, then is copy paste these scripts here, okay? And then we'll make this another backdrop. So we'll go into a backdrop. Let's go ahead and choose the haystack backdrop. The hayfield, okay. So now we have another backdrop here. So we'll go switch backdrop to hayfield. Okay, so now we'll copy paste this again. So take that and let's do one more backdrop. So maybe now he's walking, where should we walk? How about he walks through the city? Let's find a nice city backdrop. The metro is pretty cool. All right, so now we have a third backdrop. So I'll go ahead into this script and go ahead and choose the third backdrop here, the hayfield, the metro. So now if all goes according to plan, when he walks, he should walk to the boardwalk, start over, walk to the hayfield, start over, walk to the metro. So let's go ahead and try this out. Okay, good, good, good. Pretty cool. Okay, so now you notice we could go ahead and actually put a loop forever to be looping these, okay? So he'll constantly be walking back and forth through these scenes. Let's go ahead and try that. Boom, 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 boom. Very cool. Okay, so this will go on forever. So how do we spice this project up a little bit and make it maybe a little bit more dynamic, so more things happening in the scene? And how do we clean up some of this code? Well, tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and make a block for the motion of walking, because I notice that I have two blocks when really it could be one. So I have the go to and I have the glide, which is essentially my walking motion. So what I can do is I'll just make a block and call it walking. Okay, so I'll make a block, and what I'm going to define walking as these two commands here, these two. So this go to, this is now going to be walking. And so I can clean this code up by saying, now I'm just going to insert that new walking block here. So now my code becomes more streamlined. So it's walking, switch backdrop, walking, switch backdrop. Okay, and then I'll get rid of this. And now it's walking, switch backdrop. So it's much, much simpler for me to look at. So let's go ahead and try it, and we'll see it's the same functionality. Walking, switch backdrop, walking, switch backdrop. So that's pretty cool. So that is a good way to go ahead and create a streamlined version of our code. So that's looking good. Now what else can we do? Well, tell you what, I think we need a little sound here. So something that's happening in the background. So what I want to do is I actually have a song here, and I think I can go ahead and just upload the song from my computer. So I'll go ahead into my computer here, choose sound from file, and I have the I Was Born a Ramblin' Man, which I think is awesome and is very apropos to this project. So I'll let this go ahead and convert. And what I'm going to do here is use the sound editor because I'm not fully convinced I need the the entire soundtrack. So maybe I'll just choose the first 15 seconds so I can go ahead and loop this. And what that is also going to enable us to do is have the project be smaller, so it takes less time to load. Because if I'm loading a 3-minute song versus maybe 30 seconds of the song, obviously that's going to be less time to load and a little bit easier for people that don't have really quick internet connections. So as this converts, I'll go ahead and get ready to use the sound editor here, which is really powerful for editing songs. So I'll go ahead and introduce you to that. So what I'm going to do now is actually unplug my headphones so you can hear through my speakers. So I should sound a little bit different now, but that's just so you can hear through my speakers so we can both listen to this sound. So it's uploading the sound right now, so it's going to take a minute. Okay, great. So now we have the song. So let's go ahead and preview it really quick by hitting the play button. This is so perfect for this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I really just want to start it here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just trim here by clicking and dragging and then hitting delete. Okay, so that cuts that. And then what I'll do is I'll play until I hit a spot where I want to stop and maybe repeat it. So I'll go ahead and play. Good. Okay. Pretty good, pretty good. Pretty good. Okay, so I think right here is where I want to stop it. So what I can do is I'll just highlight everything to the right of this, and what that's going to do is delete the remaining waveforms or audio track. So this seems a little slow, but I'm just making sure that I delete what I want. And since this is a 4-minute song, there really isn't a quicker way. We could try and do a select invert if you're feeling daring, and you can go ahead and actually select the invert of this by hitting Control A, and then that will select everything. Then you deselect what you want. But right now we'll just select everything and then hit delete. So the old-fashioned way. Whoops. So enter. I'm sorry, delete. So we can go ahead, see if this worked. Okay. So it looks good, it looks good. So maybe what I want to do is make this a little bit lighter in the background. So I don't want this as loud. So now I'll do Command A to select everything. Okay. And then I'll go ahead here into Effects and do a little bit softer. So now it's going to be more subtle. Cool. You know what? Actually, I don't want to do that. So maybe we'll do louder and just keep it at this level. So I'm going to take this song here and I'm going to put it in the background so we can see how it looks. So I'll go here into my sound and I'll say when green flag is clicked, play this sound. And tell you what, we'll go ahead here, play sound. Pretty amazing. Okay, so the problem is this won't loop forever. So maybe what I do is actually create another when green flag is clicked. So another event when green flag is clicked. Then I'll go into my control blocks and then forever play this sound until done. And I want to do until done because if I don't do until done, it's going to try and play it constantly, and I won't even get past like 2 seconds into the song because it's going to want to play again and again. So that's why it's play until done. So let's go ahead and see how this looks. That's pretty amazing. So I think I'm actually going to just leave it at this, and I could go ahead
and I know I could add more to it, but I just wanted to introduce you to maybe sort of my introduction to what I can do now. And you see, I have limitless possibilities to go ahead and add more to each of these scenes. So maybe I switch the costume, maybe I add something here in the background, so maybe like a sailboat or something. So there's plenty of different options, but this is a really great start to our project. And I hope that this sort of enlightened you to the idea of switching backdrops and creating blocks to make your project a little more streamlined. So all I have to do is go ahead and save this and share it within the Scenes Activity Studio.